Welcome back to Finance Phoenix. Today, we're diving into a hot topic that has stirred up quite a bit of debate. President Donald Trump's tariff plans. What are tariffs? Why did Trump implement them? And what impact have they had on the economy? Let's break it down. First, let's clarify what tariffs are. Tariffs are taxes imposed on imported goods. They're designed to make foreign products more expensive, encouraging consumers to buy domestic products instead. This can protect local industries, but can also lead to higher prices for consumers. During his presidency, Trump introduced several tariffs, particularly targeting China. His administration argued that these tariffs were necessary to combat unfair trade practices and to protect American jobs. In 2018, he imposed tariffs on steel and aluminum imports, claiming it was crucial for national security. One of the most significant aspects of Trump's tariff plans was the trade war with China. This trade war, which began in 2018, was marked by a series of escalating tariffs and counter-tariffs between the two largest economies in the world. The conflict was rooted in long-standing issues such as intellectual property theft, forced technology transfers, and the trade deficit between the United States and China. President Trump aimed to address these issues by imposing tariffs, hoping to pressure China into making significant economic reforms. The United States imposed tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods, targeting a wide range of products from electronics to clothing. These tariffs were intended to make Chinese goods more expensive and less attractive to American consumers, thereby reducing the trade deficit. However, the tariffs also had the unintended consequence of increasing costs for American businesses that relied on Chinese imports, leading to higher prices for consumers. In response, China imposed its own tariffs on American goods, targeting key industries such as agriculture, automotive, and manufacturing. This move was designed to exert pressure on the United States by hitting industries that were crucial to Trump's political base. The retaliatory tariffs led to significant economic pain for American farmers, who saw their exports to China plummet. This back and forth escalated tensions and affected various industries, from agriculture to technology. American farmers in particular were hard hit, with many struggling to find new markets for their products. The technology sector also faced challenges, as companies had to navigate the complexities of supply chain disruptions and increased costs. Despite the economic pain, the trade war continued for several years, with both sides refusing to back down. The long-term impact of the trade war is still being felt today, as businesses and consumers continue to grapple with the fallout. Let's talk about the 25% tariff imposed on Mexico and Canada. This significant move by the Trump administration marked a pivotal moment in North American trade relations. The tariffs were not just a simple tax. They represented a broader shift in the United States' approach to international trade. By imposing a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum imports from Mexico and Canada, the administration aimed to address what it perceived as unfair trade practices and to protect American jobs and industries. This decision was met with a mix of support and criticism, reflecting the complex nature of global trade dynamics. This tariff was part of Trump's broader strategy to renegotiate trade deals and protect American industries. The administration believed that previous trade agreements, such as NAFTA, had disadvantaged American workers and businesses. By imposing these tariffs, Trump sought to bring Mexico and Canada to the negotiating table to secure more favorable terms for the United States. The goal was to create a level playing field where American industries could compete more effectively. This approach was consistent with Trump's America First policy, which prioritized domestic economic interest over international cooperation. The tariffs were aimed at pressuring these countries to agree to more favorable terms for the United States. The administration hoped that the economic impact of the tariffs would compel Mexico and Canada to make concessions in trade negotiations. This strategy was not without risks, as it relied on the assumption that the economic pressure would be sufficient to bring about the desired changes. The negotiations were complex and involved multiple rounds of discussions, with each side seeking to protect its own interests while finding common ground. However, this move also led to tensions and retaliatory measures from both Mexico and Canada. The tariffs were seen as an aggressive move, and both countries responded with their own set of tariffs on American goods. This tit-for-tat escalation created uncertainty in the market and strained diplomatic relations. Protests erupted in Mexico and Canada, with citizens and businesses expressing their frustration over the increased costs and economic disruption. The retaliatory measures targeted key American industries, further complicating the trade landscape. The impact of these tariffs was felt across various sectors, including automotive and agriculture, leading to increased costs for both producers and consumers. In the automotive industry, the tariffs on steel and aluminum drove up production costs, which were then passed on to consumers in the form of higher prices for vehicles. Similarly, in the agricultural sector, farmers faced higher costs for equipment and supplies, squeezing their profit margins. The ripple effects of the tariffs were felt throughout the economy, highlighting the interconnected nature of global trade. While the tariffs aimed to protect American industries, they also underscored the challenges and complexities of implementing such measures in a globalized world. Let's dive deeper into how tariffs have affected consumer prices. When tariffs are imposed on imported goods, the cost of these goods inevitably rises. This increase in cost is often passed on to consumers, leading to higher prices for everyday items. Consider the example of consumer electronics. Many of these products are manufactured overseas and imported into the United States. With tariffs in place, companies face higher costs to bring these products into the country. To maintain their profit margins, they pass these additional costs on to consumers, resulting in more expensive gadgets and appliances. The impact isn't limited to electronics, it's felt across various sectors. For instance, the automotive industry saw a rise in the cost of raw materials like steel and aluminum due to tariffs. These increased costs were then reflected in the final price of cars, making vehicles more expensive for the average consumer. Similarly, in the grocery sector, tariffs on imported food items led to higher prices on supermarket shelves. Everyday essentials like fruits, vegetables, and dairy products saw price hikes, affecting household budgets. This was particularly challenging for families already grappling with tight finances. The ripple effect of tariffs extends to the retail sector as well. Clothing, footwear, and other consumer goods imported from countries facing tariffs became costlier. Retailers, in an attempt to manage these increased costs, had to either raise prices or absorb the losses, impacting their profitability. While the goal of tariffs was to protect domestic industries and create jobs, the unintended consequence has been an increase in the cost of living for many Americans. Consumers, already dealing with economic uncertainties, found themselves paying more for goods and services, leading to a decrease in disposable income and a shift in spending habits. As we move towards understanding the broader economic impact, it's essential to recognize how these changes in consumer prices play a crucial role in shaping public perception and policy debates surrounding tariffs. So, what was the economic impact? The introduction of tariffs has been a hotly debated topic among economists, policymakers, and the general public. To understand the full scope of the economic impact, we need to delve into various aspects, including manufacturing, trade deficits, consumer prices, and international relations. Supporters of the tariffs argue that they helped revive American manufacturing. They claim that by imposing tariffs on imported goods, domestic industries were given a competitive edge. This, in turn, led to an increase in production and job creation within the country. Factories that were once struggling to stay afloat saw a resurgence, and new manufacturing plants were established, providing employment opportunities for many Americans, and reduced the trade deficit. The trade deficit, which is the difference between the value of a country's imports and exports, had been a point of concern for many years. Proponents of the tariffs argue that by making imported goods more expensive, consumers and businesses were encouraged to buy domestically produced products. This shift in purchasing behavior helped to reduce the trade deficit, as the country began to export more and import less. However, critics point out that they led to increased prices for consumers. When tariffs are imposed on imported goods, the cost of these goods rises. This increase in cost is often passed on to consumers in the form of higher prices. Everyday items, from groceries to electronics, became more expensive, putting a strain on household budgets. For many families, this meant having to make difficult choices about their spending and strained relationships with trading partners. International trade is built on a foundation of cooperation and mutual benefit. The introduction of tariffs disrupted this balance, leading to tensions between the United States and its trading partners. Countries that were once allies in trade found themselves at odds, leading to strained diplomatic relations. Negotiations became more challenging, and in some cases, retaliatory tariffs were imposed, further complicating international trade dynamics. Studies have shown mixed results, with some industries benefiting while others suffered. While certain sectors, such as steel and aluminum, saw significant gains, others, like agriculture and retail, faced hardships. Farmers in particular were hit hard by retaliatory tariffs from other countries, leading to a decrease in exports and financial losses. On the other hand, industries that were protected by the tariffs experienced growth and increased profitability. The overall economic impact of the tariffs is complex and multifaceted, with both positive and negative outcomes. Don't forget to like this video if you found it informative, subscribe to our channel for more updates on global economic policies and their impacts, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We value your feedback and look forward to engaging with you. Hit the bell icon to stay notified.